Good morning, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Tuesday, so you know we're here talking social media with Terry Johnson online because Terry Johnson is everywhere online. We love her. She's here all the way from New York City. And we want to give a shout out to Francine, who is mobile today. She's streaming for a number of different entities. And so we just send our love and we wish her much success today. I'm
Yes.
Carolina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So let's get this party started because we know you need information on how to run a profitable business that's fun to run. How you doing this morning, Terry?
I'm doing great. How are you doing? I hope
I'm
everybody
doing
is doing
great.
well.
Yep, and we want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching on the replay to let you know, hey, we appreciate you. Don't worry, put your questions in the chat and we'll get to them.
We do appreciate the replay viewers because I know everybody
Hmm.
can't be here live. It's not a requirement. There's a lot of live pages that I follow and I want to see their lives and I miss it, but I always make sure to go back to the page and watch the replay because it's there
Hmm.
forever until they take it down, but it's there, so
There you go.
it's a good thing. So welcome to today's discussion. We never call it a show because we're here to talk about and learn about things about digital marketing. And I've been saying for the last few months since this thing started, I'm not even going to say the word. Since this thing started, things have been up in the air. Change is every day. It's every
Hmm.
day. Isn't it like who would have thought that 2020 at the beginning when we're like, yeah, I still remember New Year's Eve was like, oh yeah, 2020 is going to be great. And
Oh, yeah.
things are happening, change is happening and we need that change, but it's just like,
It's a
whew,
new
it's
decade. We were all excited, right?
yeah, I remember I was like, oh man, 2020 is going to be great. I just remember thinking it's going to be great and what is going to be the best ever. And it kind of is. It's just not in the package we thought it was going to come because out of all of this unrest and turmoil and people not knowing and unfortunate things that are happening in all the communities, um, we're just unsure. We're uncertain and unsure about what's going on. So we need to
Hmm.
talk about why things changing and they're going to continue to change. So I'm telling you, get used to the change. Get
Okay.
used to waking up and this is different, that is different. Conversate We said last week hard conversations were happening in groups, which is necessary. A lot of people are waking up to their behavior and at
Hmm.
least at the minimum acknowledging that they left out certain communities, not on purpose. It was just you're in this one bubble and that's all
Hey,
you see. So
Nazim.
you're hey
Hmm.
Nazim, you're in this one bubble and you're not thinking about other communities. So that got me to thinking about a word that a lot of people haven't been, have are using now, but they didn't use it say 2 or 3 years ago. There's one person I follow that has always been talking about this word. He was the only voice in business that I heard talking about this word and this concept. But now it's like, okay, now everybody is like, oh, well, we need to do this. We need to think about that. And this the word for that is called empathy.
Hmm.
It's empathy.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we got to start talking about empathy. And I'm going to go through, we talked about a little bit last week, but I really want to talk some more about it because there's something called empathy marketing, which a lot of people haven't been doing before, which they should have been doing. And now they're looking at it going, oh, well, we got to think about the audience and all of that. And I'm like, okay, where have you been? We've been talking about it for years. So, and not that's not to brag. I'm just saying that
Hmm.
we saw it coming, at least on this show. And I know one other person that was saying, talking about empathy. They even named one of their businesses Empathy. But
Hmm.
before I do that, I just want to say that no, I'm glad you're all here. You're ready to talk about this, but let's bring some more people into the conversation. So share this out. Let people know what you're watching, what you're doing. There's several ways, depending on what platform you are. Um, you know how to do that on the platform that you're watching us on. So please invite others to this conversation. So because this is about learning a new path that we should have been on already. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe you know a little bit about empathy, but you don't know a lot. So we need to get that conversation going. So please invite everyone you know to the conversation.
Yes.
And we thank you for doing that. And I'm calling this how to connect because that's really what it is, how to connect, the empathy marketing part of this. Um, I didn't see the conversations. Corinda, hi. Looking
Yeah.
forward. Nadine, he says it's getting really loco. Corinda, long time no see. I hope you're doing well, Corinda. I hope you're doing okay. We've been talking about
Nazim is
a lot of
here
okay.
Naz-
Oh,
from
Barb.
Italy.
Barb is
Mm-hmm.
here. I'm always glad to see Barb. Howdy, ladies. Yeah, I'm glad you're here live, Barb, because I really want to hear your comments because I know you have something to say about this topic. Nazim, working in an office in Genova. Am I saying
Mm-hmm.
that right?
Yes.
Nazim is
It,
in Italy.
mm-hmm.
Welcome, welcome. So I'm glad that everyone is here. And let's see. Empathy. I mean, does everybody know the definition? If you don't, I want to read it because I want us all to start on the same foot. Like, you may know what empathy is, but I want to give you the definition and then some other things that go with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, empathy is the process. Oh no, where's my? I have my definition. Oh, there it is. So, empathy is a noun. It's the ability to understand how someone feels because you can imagine what it's like to be them. Now,
Mm.
empathy is not sympathy.
Okay.
Sympathy is something else entirely. Sympathy is a feeling of kindness and understanding that you have for someone who is experiencing something very unpleasant. So sympathy means you feel bad for them, but you're not putting yourself in their shoes and looking through their eyes totally.
Uh-huh.
So sympathy is a similar feeling, but sympathy means that you're standing outside of the process, looking in, going,
Okay.
I feel sorry for them. Instead of empathy, crossing that line and standing in their shoes and looking out through their eyes and seeing what they see. Okay.
Mm.
So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to give that definition to make sure everybody knows what it is. Now, why is empathy important? Well, ask yourself, look at the news. Look at what's going on. I think France had a big Black Lives Matter
Yes.
rally yesterday or the day before, and it was,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the numbers, but it was a lot of people.
It was outstanding.
Yes, it was amazing to see the photos. And that goes to show you that this is a topic that's worldwide. It's just not United States. Even
Mm-hmm.
though things are happening here that were the catalyst for all of this, you know, I won't even say protesting. I'll say marching in the streets, painting
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter on the streets. They started it in Washington D.C. I think it did it in San Francisco. I want to say another city
Yes.
wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Other cities are writing Black Lives Matter in the streets because there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be an emphasis and a point on that. But it's global now. It's global.
Yeah.
It's in France. It's UK had their things going on. Other countries. So, what do you say to that? What do you say to this worldwide awakening to the problems
Movement.
that
Mm-hmm.
the movement? What do you guys think about that? I really want to know. So let me know in the chat.
And it's
Um,
I think you're going to have different reactions depending on the generation
mhm,
because I am so tired. I tell you, seriously, I am
mhm.
exhausted from the 60s.
Yes, and that's okay. That's good for you to be
60
tired because now
years.
But you see
Woo!
what everything that's happening now is being generated by the younger
Hmm.
generation. They're not tired. They are
And I was
tired.
young, then.
And see, they are tired, but they aren't they have the energy, I guess I would say,
Yeah, they do.
to continue to fight, which they should. So
Yes,
young
I think
people,
the mantle has passed.
yes, the baton has passed to
Hmm.
the younger generation as it should, and they have the stamina and the energy for the fight. Whereas, like Carolina said, she's tired. I've been
I,
doing this.
I,
I'm tired.
I'm now ready. I'm just in
Right. I want
prayer.
to. I'm with you, but I want to sit down and let you
Hmm.
guys handle this. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's why I said get ready for the change. It's going to be constant change until we get to the point where the change is not necessary or things have changed for the better for some communities. Progress is being made, I will say,
Yes.
and we'll see what happens. No one knows the outcome. No one knows when it's going to stop. And it should stop, like we were just saying.
Hmm.
uh Khalid says, I am 39, just as hungry. Yes. See, and the it's about your energy, how you feel
Yes.
about it. I'm a big fan of the energy that you bring to your business, the energy that you bring online, the social media, writing, whatever you're doing. The energy is the force that carries you through, no matter your age. Because I know an 80-year-old that's like,
Hmm.
let's do this.
Yep.
It's the mindset and the energy.
It
And
is.
everybody has different levels. So it's not a put down. Like I said, I see a lot of people putting down, well, you didn't post the square, you didn't put the hashtag, or you don't do that. Everybody's on different levels. Everybody's doing things differently. You don't know if that person is helping out in the community to feed
Exactly.
children, or feed the marchers, or paint the letter. You don't know what they're doing, so don't do that. Just because they didn't put a hashtag. A hashtag is the minimum amount of energy that you can expend, and
Mhm.
people are getting angry at you, at not you, but some people are just doing the hashtag and moving on. A matter
Mhm.
of fact, I read that the people that posted the black squares 2 weeks ago removed it from their social media. Like, we're done. So what was the purpose of posting a square and
Uh-huh.
deleting the post? Because it messed up the aesthetics of my Instagram feed. That means you weren't down for making change or joining the call for change. You're just joining. You're somebody said the word. What about it? Not what aboutism. It was something else. Like, you're just joining because it's the cool, it's the
It's the
popular
trend.
thing. Hmm?
It's a
What's that?
trend.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was thinking. It's the trend. Brenna's here. Good morning, Brenna. And then Nazim says, let's see what happens with the elections. Way too much divisiveness. Support the cause, but lots of people going a little bit overboard with threats. Yes, I agree
For
with
real.
that. There's no room for threats. We got a thing to do. It happens in November, and we got to do it. So, you know, let's keep the calm. Now, the empathy part I want to get to, because that's part of the title. I'm saying how to connect, because we always have the business approach and marketing approach here. And I want to put Nazim's comment up before I forget. Exactly. Lots of people want to be trendy. You're right. And this is not a trendy, I'm going to post a black square, I'm going to put a hashtag, and I've done my part. And those people that say that are getting called out, not by black people, but they're getting called out by everybody. On my
Mhm.
Instagram stories, I see so many people that are not black that are posting things like, and they're calling other people out. It's a thing to see. It's wonderful. So our voices is there, but our voices are being amplified by everyone else who feels empathy and want to show that they're a part of what's going on. So
Mm.
that's a good thing.
Yes, it
So
is.
with all of that happening, I want to tell you that your keeping a point of empathy when you're making your messages online as a business owner, because you, like I said before, if you don't know what to say, I wanted you to be silent for a while, think about it, absorb, And you can do that by going to your social media platform of your choice or reading whatever publication. The information is there. People are writing furiously. And then I want to also say that there have been a lot of Black authors that have been writing on this subject forever. So there's a ton of resources and books.
Mm-hmm.
And if you Google, you'll get a list. People are writing lists of these are the books you should read if you want to know more about this. People are writing blog posts, articles about, and they're helping you.
Yes.
But realize some people are like Terralina and, some of us, we're tired of trying to educate. So we're not going to educate, but the information is there. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, what does that have to do with marketing and business? A lot, because marketing, you have to convince someone to buy what you're selling, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you convince people if their minds are on the P word, I'm not even going to mention it, and Black Lives Matter, the movement, the change that's happening with all of the things that are happening? So people's minds are focused on that. Plus, there's some people that are employed. A lot of people are unemployed, unhappy, have some mental issues going on, mental health challenges. They may have family members that have passed on, unfortunately. So all of that, you're going to try to convince someone to buy what you're selling through all of this by posting ads. I see lots of people posting at business, people business that I've seen post about their course, their mastermind or whatever, and they're just posting like nothing's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, they can do that. But the message is getting lost because the people you're trying to convince are concerned about other things. So it's not, and I heard a lot of people in my groups that I'm a member of. I'm a member of a lot of groups. I got to get rid of some, but I just can't because there's just so much conversation and information in there. So there's some things going around in some Facebook groups about posts about Black Lives Matter and the protests and this are political, and they're not. It's a part of society, of being human, of being of the human race. It's not political, not at all. So those people that are saying that, I'm like, they aren't even looking at the world. They got on rose-colored glasses. Brenna says, I'm not good with trends. People need to be guided by humanity and respect for life. If I spent time to write and post my thoughts, I'm not deleting. Exactly. See, I want to say that everybody that watches our, what we're doing and this is every day on Biz Chicks, watching us today. I know those people aren't like that. Putting a black square, deleting it, or putting a message and deleting it. I know that. So I'm like, I know that this crowd that we have, this community we have, I feel pretty assured in saying that I know that we aren't doing that, but others are. Nazim says, my wife is doing a new project that helps the domestic violence charity group. See, this is coming down to the change because people feel like they have a voice to speak up about the injustices. And it's the makeuptherapy.com. Thank you, Nazim. So everybody go visit the website. Mm-hmm. Visit the website. We're going to support her because that's Nazim's wife, Betty. Lovely project. She is super positive and full of empathy. See? So I love it when somebody sees that they want to work on something that they may not have wanted to work on before because the interest wasn't there outside of them or the world wasn't ready. So I'm saying the world is ready to hear your voice. They've always been ready, but now it's you feel more comfortable and safer in putting your message out. So that's why you have to learn how to connect, how to use empathy to connect, because right now people are putting out ads and their messages don't connect with what's going on. Mm-hmm. So they make it a little traction, but people are like, we're not paying attention to that. Why are you I've seen comments, why are you, this is not the time for this kind of ad. This is not the time to talk about this and that. Even though you're a business owner, you need to run your business. So what I'm saying is you need to have a tone of empathy in your marketing and your message, your story, what you're saying online. Yes. Nazim says, plus she dragged me over to Italy. Ooh. Gotta love the girl. Yes. Yes. See, this is the kind of thoughts and messages and imagery. So I'm like, she should talk about domestic violence charity groups, and because she's in a makeup business, right? She's a makeup
Makeup
stylist artist, right,
Mhm.
Nazim? So she should speak out because she's seen some things in her industry
Uh-huh.
that she couldn't have talked about before, because one, no one wanted to hear it, or it would have been a negative voice, or whatever the reason. But now she feels empowered to talk about that because she's seen it and she can talk about it. So that's the good thing about what's going on. So that's what you need to do. Yes, run your business, but if you ever had a side thought or a project that you had, I never had the time for. I want to talk about domestic violence. I want to talk about feeding children, or working with the homeless, or any kind of thing, any issue that affects society. Your thing you're going to use to connect is empathy.
Mhm.
You're going to try to put yourself in their shoes. Now, it's not going to work too well if you're saying, well, I'm one community, I want to try to put myself in the others. You can try by
Mhm.
learning and reading about that community and try to imagine your best, but it's still not going to be 100% because you're not that person. Like somebody if you're not Black, you're not going to see exactly what we see, the things that we've gone through. And like Carolina says, she's tired because it's been since the 60s and before that. I mean, we can go back.
But I have other ways of supporting what I believe in.
Yes. So she's not going to protest. And see, that part of the protesting, when we were doing it in the 60s, she did that already. So it was like, she doesn't, unless she wants to. Some of them do go, some of the older people do go out and protest, but they don't have to because they've done it. So it's like, well, I'm going to be in a support position now instead of the front line position, which is it's still important.
Too, the whole thing of the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic has a lot to do with how people wish to empathize and express that empathy.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that being in the middle of this crisis, there's time for you to reflect. We didn't have time before because we were busy doing life stuff. Oh, we're going to work. We're taking the kids to school. We're taking the kids to soccer practice, football practice, whatever practice. I got a church group meeting. I got a this meeting. I got a that meeting. I got to get my hair done. I got to do this. I got to shop for the kids. I got to buy. See, all of that stuff we're not doing anymore, because a lot of people, I know some people are out there living like nothing's happening, but for the majority of us, we're still staying close to home.
Yes,
because there's a bug, there's COVID-19 that's out there that, guess what, people are still there. It hasn't disappeared because it's summertime. You can't do that. So it's like our focus is on this change that's happening, because there's nothing else going on to take us away. Even Hollywood shut down production, so there was like no new shows. They started production this week, but even with sports, I forgot about sports. There has been no sporting events. That's something to take your mind away from making change.
Yeah, absolutely. People are just really looking for something to fill in the gap.
Right. There's a space. There's a space now.
There's a space there.
Nazim, so back on Nazim's wife's project, which we will check out, he put in the website. Correct. Free online session on how to look great in video conferences, English soon. Okay, so good.
Is he telling us it's in Italian?
Yeah, but see, Google, if you go there, Google will ask you, do you want to translate it to English? So that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Brenna. Oh, Brenna, let me put Brenna's comment up. On Friday, leaving the 99-cent store, I had to call the cops on a man at a light beating the woman next to him. Oh my God. He was driving erratic. He almost hit me. I was shocked. 2 miles. He was driving. Oh my God.
People are
that is horrible.
Really, really frustrated.
Yes, that's horrible.
Now, I've got someone on my watch party, Natalie says, as a King's ticket holder, they refunded all of our money for the season. Wow. So she got them. So,
see, because it's still a business transaction because you paid for the season and it's like there's no season. So yes,
exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's horrible to witness for you, Brenna, and also horrible for the woman that is happening to. So see, those things that were happening before this pandemic are still happening. They're just being intensified because things are closed. We're sheltered in place. There's no sports. There's no entertainment. Because we're supposed to focus on one thing, which is fixing the problems that needed to be fixed all the time. Yes. It's just that you had other things taking up your time. Now you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you see people in the street. That's why you see a lot. And it's not just Black people, it's white people, it's Asian, it's every community.
It's a human thing.
Yes. Yes. Nazim, thank you for stopping by. I love to hear from you. And he's on a different time zone, so we know.
Yeah, keep us posted as to what's going on in Italy. We know you guys are opening up again.
Right. Right. So this thing's going on where I read today that in China they're experiencing another outbreak. So I'm like, I didn't even read the whole story because I'm like, I can't process that right now. I gotta do some other things. When I'm in a different energy space, I'll finish reading. Because I don't want to get afraid and frightened of, oh, here we go again. The whole thing that happened February and March of this year, which is still going on. But to get off of that topic of the pandemic and what's going on, it's time for the change. So the change starts with you as a business owner. How do you connect with the audience? Realize that there is one or two singular topics that are happening right now. And when you try to carry on as usual, you're going to get called out by people who want you to pay attention to those topics because there's change that's needed. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've got someone over here on the watch party that says not only here, it is in over 20 other countries that are following the struggle. Yeah, they are following the struggle.
Mm-hmm. That's what we said at the beginning of the show, that this is worldwide. It's not just United States. And we see that it's worldwide. So it's not just here. It's a wave that's going around the world. So you have to pay attention. And how do you do that? Because this is the thing I've seen from business owners, that they're being called out if they don't say a specific thing. They're being called out if they use a hashtag and don't do anything else. So you got all of the stuff coming at you from outside and then internally with your business. I'm saying you need to employ empathy, which is that you see the world, or you try to see the world through someone else's shoe. Put yourself in their shoes and try to see what they're seeing, instead of automatically just going, well, that didn't happen because it doesn't happen to me. That's your experience, but somebody else's experience is different. And you are trying, in marketing, you're trying to communicate your message to them in order to get them to buy your products and your services. So you have to pay attention to the world. You can't walk around with blinders on going, I don't see anything. I see a lot of people doing that. And you don't have to be militant. You don't have to go, well, you have to go out in the street and look angry. And some of them are looking angry, some of them are not. But you don't have to do that because there's too much energy that you can't handle. So that means you need to be in a support position. And what you do is you post that on your social media. This is what I'm doing. Take action. I've been using the hashtag take action a lot everywhere. So that's what you do. So you're silent. You've absorbed what's going on. You got the comprehension. You read the books, you articles, you talk to people, however you got the information, and now you can craft a message that's from you that addresses what's going on today. That's the empathy part of marketing you need to do.
Exactly. Please don't just cut and paste.
Yes.
Now Natalie says all nations coming together. Yeah, it is a global thing. Yeah,
it's a sight to behold. Who would have thought, like I said earlier in the show, who would have thought 2020 would be this ride? It's a roller coaster ride is the only thing I can say. And I'm telling you, the ride is not over, people. There could be something else popping up that we need to pay attention to. That's what's happening. So I'm saying, you as a business owner, your thoughts and actions, your mindset should be empathy, which means I'm going to try to understand what that person is going through. I can't understand it totally. I'm not asking you to be the person 100%, because you can't do that, but try to be a little bit more empathetic and look at your messages and what you're saying online, because you need to know how to connect right now. 2020, it's a different ball game from 2019.
Yes.
Okay. That's absolutely different. A message you would have posted last summer, you can't post that now. Don't do it. Not without employing the empathy, or not employing what that community might be feeling. Or here's another thought. You even need to talk to the people in your audience. Do a survey. Ask them what they're concerned about, or what can I improve on with my messaging to you.
Poll the audience. Find out what you'd like to talk about right now.
Yes, you should always talk. You should always talk to your audience and your community. But what I'm saying is, you need to be a little bit more sensitive as to what they want. It's never about you, because you as the business owner, you're like, yeah, I want people to buy my products and sign up for my service. But that's what you want. You need to always focus on what your audience wants. They'll tell you what they need, what they desire, and you give that to them. So that hasn't changed. It's just that I'm saying that a message you post last year, or something that you have on repeat or automatic, nope. Because a message from last summer, from last June 16th, you better not post that today, because it doesn't apply, because the audience's focus has changed, and you need to be empathetic and remember that. And that's your platform, your point going forward with your messaging this year, right now. Okay, that's just really what I'm saying.
Because we're talking business here, people.
Yeah.
And people are holding business owners accountable. So they want to know what side of the fence you're on.
Yes. And it's not, like I said, it's not political. You can do it without being political, because this is a humanitarian issue. This is a societal issue. This is society, global, worldwide. That's why I brought up the fact that had that rally in France, and they had the aerial photograph, and it was just so many people. I don't even know what the number.
It was huge in London.
Hundreds of thousands. I don't know. It's just right. Yeah. So Barb says, and thank you, Barb. Barb says, from a business perspective, I've long referred to ethnicities in the USA as African, Anglo, Hispanic, Native, Asian, Jamaican, etc. I frown on bringing color into any labeling. As far as I'm concerned, the issue is authoritative, police, government, business owners, brutality, bullying, abuse to the point of inhumanity. Yes, I love that. I love that. And see but see, the thing in our community, there's some people that want to be called Black. There's some people that want to be called African American. There's some people that want to be called something else. So I think our situation is a little bit different from every other community, because we have people in our own community that don't want to be called one thing and want to be called another. So that's another level of complexity that I know it makes it hard for people not in our community to go, well, what are you talking about? But see, like Terralina says, we've been dealing with this for years within our own community,
and conversations in universities for years, HBCUs, about what's it going to be.
Right. And then you have to realize also in our community, we have biracial, which they're, one is Black and one is of another ethnicity or race or whatever. So they have their own problem within our problem. So see how complex this is. So that's what I'm saying. You use empathy and you use knowledge. Once you get that knowledge, you use that with your empathy to realize that this community, they have several sub-issues going on, not just the police or the this or the that. They have other issues within their own community that were talked about within the community. But like I said earlier, there have been lots of, in our community, lots of Black authors that have written specifically about this journey, the struggle we're on for years. So there's tons of reading resources. Now, it can be overwhelming. I agree with that. But there are some people who have been kind enough to the path, the roadmap together and say, okay, you ready to learn? here's a book, here's a movie, here's a this documentary, here's a article, here's a podcast. It's all out there. So it's a lot of work, but everybody has to do the work. Everybody has to do the work. Barb says, frankly, I see that in many more ethnicities, it's a labeling issue and personal development for the human race. Right. We have to look at this thing as a human race and not political. And a lot of people, where I am and I read, I see they use the word. This is not the place for political issues when they want to shut down the conversation in a private Facebook group. And that's the tool that's the hammer that they're using to silence people. And the other side of it is saying it's not political. It depends on what you're watching on media that tells you it's political, but we're saying it's not. So that person who's saying that political thing, they have to look at them own selves and say, wait, maybe it's not political. Maybe because
and maybe this is where we have to educate ourselves as to how to respond.
Yes. Education on both sides. We're not saying that we don't have to do some education. We've been doing it the most is what we're saying. And I saw a tweet this morning, and it's probably a younger person who responded to someone's response about, it's been 400 years. And the response was like, oh, it hasn't been 400 years. I'm like,
okay.
It's been documented by the New York Times. They have a 1619 project. So 1619 to last year was 2019. So do the math. So, but this person wants to make some kind of statement and say, well, be dismissive when the facts are right in front of you. That's why I watch our governor every day. He does a press conference every day. He always says everything he talks about is based on facts. It's not my opinion, your opinion, political or whatever. He says this is facts. So he has the numbers to say this is fact. So you can't, the numbers are there.
Yes.
Barb says, absolutely, all humans need to do the work. Big hugs to you both. Thank you. We love you, Barbara. You know that. I was happy that you said you were coming. I was like, Barbara's coming. Because this is a conversation. It's not just my voice, Carolina's voice, Barb's voice, Khalid, Brenna, Nazim. It's everybody. That's why I say you don't silence anybody's voice. And also, one side doesn't say, well, we've done all the work, we're not going to do any more. It's just that the energy of doing it is we're passing it on to the younger crowd to let them do it. Because it's their turn.
That is only in my case.
No, it's representative of a lot of people in our community. If they've gone, like, I was watching.
Because we are concerned. We have grandsons. We have sons. We have daughters.
Family members. Yes.
Nieces,
if you go to
grandchildren, it's not to say we're not concerned. It's just to say that our participation is different, especially with the additional piling on of the pandemic. You know what I mean? It's like all this and that.
Yeah, it's layers of overwhelm and heaviness and energy. And
is emotional support, because we're talking to people who are still in the workplace about how to navigate this, because suddenly they have to be the experts on Black history and every Black folk that crossed the traverses.
Right. So, and we said that earlier about, be careful about who you ask for help or information, because that person may be from a stance of, I'm tired and I don't want to help you. You have a phone, a computer, a device. Google is your friend. It's all there. It's that you have to do that work. We don't want to spoon feed it to you, because like I said, Black authors have been writing about this, white authors, all kind of communities of, have been writing about this problem. So there's tons of information. It's that you before didn't have the time because you were doing other things. Now you got all the time to make the effort to say, let me read a little, let me study a little, let me absorb. That's why I use the word absorb, because you can read it, but you may not try to understand it. So I want you to absorb.
Empathy.
And then you come from your place of messaging. You don't parrot what you see online. Say, I don't understand. And I've read and I still don't understand. Can someone help me? And then you make it you may get some help and you may get some pushback as to, I'm tired, I don't want to help you. So be aware of that is what I'm saying. But keep asking until you get the help you need. This works with anything. Keep asking until you get the help you need. Someone is going to help you and answer your questions and help you. But keep doing it. Don't drop the ball because, I got attacked online. Keep doing it. Go ask another community. Go to another group. Go to another place. Go to another platform and ask. Okay. Brenda says, like, when they say John Sutter paid the Native Americans to make the mission, no, he didn't. We had no use for your money back then. John Sutter is not as good as icon for doing good in our area as perceived. Now, see, Brenda, that's something I don't know about, and I'm going to look up John Sutter.
Let me explain it. Here in Sacramento, there is a fort that sits down in downtown Sacramento, founded by John Sutter, but it was built on the backs of American Indians who were enslaved to keep that fort going, to build it the whole 9 yards. But yet he gets to be the statue,
the face of it,
the face of it, because he became a millionaire.
Wow. On the backs of.
You understand what I'm saying? And so recently, yesterday, in fact, they took the statue down because it sits in front of Sutter Hospital.
Okay. And of course, Sutter Hospital is named after him. It's named after him.
And so just like every time we see a Confederate flag, we see the same thing as Jews do when they see a swastika. American Indians here in this area see the same thing when they see that John Sutter statue. We don't.
That's interesting. That's what I'm saying, that we're waking up to the fact that we've lived with these injustices and just kind of glazed over because that John Sutter
in this wordsmith history.
It's a time, and these things need to be said and heard. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Brenna, because that's something that I'm going to look into, because I was like, I didn't know who John Sutter was, but I'm interested in knowing and learning about that and saying that's wrong. I don't
know where you're going to get the truth from.
Right. But no, I'm going to read. What I'm saying is I'm not going to ask her to tell me. I'm going to go on and read the articles and stuff.
In California history books.
But see, that's what you need to do. We need to do the work of finding out. And of course, we all know what happened. The Mayflower came over here and they discovered, and Christopher Columbus, they discovered. No, there were people here. The moon was discovered because there's nobody on it. When you go to a body of land mass and you see people there and go, we're discovering it for another country, you're wrong.
It's a form of colonialism.
And if it takes hundreds of years to call out, we calling it out. So that's what I'm saying. The conversation is happening, and there's some people that don't want to hear. Well, here in New York, because like the Christopher Columbus statue that's on Columbus Circle, named after Christopher Columbus, because the Italian population here is real proud of Christopher Columbus. But we've been pushing back for years, saying that that's National Indigenous People Day, right, Brenna? Right. So we've been focusing on that, where they're still having a parade, and we were like, we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
We're moving away from that. The Christopher Columbus statue, also in my hometown where I was born, there's lots of Confederacy stuff that I, as a kid, didn't know. It was just, that's John C. Calhoun Drive. I didn't know who he was. But now I know what he was. And I'm like, people in my hometown are getting together and like, that statue has to go. Or the name of that highway has to be changed. Or, you know what I'm saying? Those things are happening where it's like, as a kid, I'm like,
And what is the true definition of treason? Is it not being in rebellion against your own government? And now you get to have a street
statue. Yeah. You got so many things named after you. I'm like, whoa. So things that need to be changed are changing. And I'm telling you that I want you to think about your messaging when you're trying to connect online right now, because it's different from last year. So I don't want you to get caught up or tied up, or I don't know what to say, you're going to, the silent, the absorbing, the reading, the knowledge, and then you're going to formulate your message in your words from the place that you're standing.
And it's going to take a lot of conversation, people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying this is easy.
I think the reason why we're having this today, because, Biz Chicks, we talk business on this channel, is because this is not going to be a flash in the pan, and it's going to affect your business, how you communicate. Some of it's going to be confrontational, some of it's going to be empathetic, some of it's going to be, just ignorant. And we have people in our community from all sides. I'm looking at my sorority sister. Her husband is a policeman. Okay.
Right.
So, and it's just an exhausting conversation. But you better buckle up, because it's not going to go away like it did in the 60s, because you do not control the media anymore.
Right.
You cannot shut this down by turning off television and pretending like it doesn't exist.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people are trying to do that. I'm saying you can't do that. Eventually, it's going to trip up. And Barb says, wow, history is to be learned from, not erased. Exactly. We have to learn from it, but there's some part of history that some places in America are celebrating, and there's another side of it that's saying we don't want to celebrate that, especially on state property. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So you could take that statue and remove it from the state property and move it to the museum that you want to have to celebrate that person.
And the people who celebrate that can buy a ticket to see all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Barb says you can control the media through voting and turning the media, as we know, off. Exactly. I agree with that. I love that you said that. Bonnie's here. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome. Glad to see you. Yeah. So I love that. Because when I see people, the young people doing whatever, if I'm online, I say, okay, that's great. Now vote. Don't forget to vote. You have to vote. And I'm not talking presidential. I'm talking about state and local, because that applies more to your life in the real and now. Yes, the president. Yes, the presidency matters, but not as much as your governor and your mayor and your sheriff. And you're seeing that now with the pandemic. What's happening now? The administration, has there been any briefings, or because I don't watch, but has there any been briefings about COVID and what they're doing? Dr. Fauci, I don't see him anymore. Dr. Burke, I don't see her anymore. Right. So that's what I'm saying. I rely on my governor to get my information, my news, because he affects me directly. And he comes on every day. Every day. It's been it's been over 100 days. He's at 100 press conferences every day, and he says, this is what's happening. These are the facts. This is what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, he signed the Amy Cooper law. That was the lady in Central Park that called the police on the man that was bird watching, and she was screaming like it was so that's a hate crime. To do what she did is not a hate crime in New York State. He's also signed some executive orders to look at police reform in New York State. So things are happening here that are not happening federally. So that's what I'm saying. It's important who you vote for as governor, as mayor, judges, comptroller, attorney, those local races. Please pay attention to voting for that. Barb says CNN took away their citizen journalism project because citizens were reporting what they saw live. See? Hi, Gabby. And Gabby's here. Hi. Good to see you, Gabby. Oh, let me take that away. So, Bonnie says, pretty sure everyone wants New York's governor right now. Yeah, everybody wants him. Yeah, they're in love with Cuomo. And I'm not saying he's perfect, because there's some things that he's taking a stance on that a lot of us hasn't agreed on, but he knows he's the governor. And he said in the beginning of this, he came on and said, you want to know where the buck stops? It stops here. with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you elected me to run, so I'm going to do that. And I'm pretty sure he's got people calling him every day about New York City needs to open up the restaurants and this and that. And he's like, I'm not doing it. Not based on the facts and the numbers. So things have gone down considerably here, but he's still not ready to completely open up. We're doing it in phases. New York City is still phase 1, where everybody else is probably 2 or 3.
2 and 3. I mean, we're trying to open, I think, the salons this weekend.
1. We're still on 1. It's been 2 weeks. And, but that's what I'm saying. I trust him to, because I voted for him. I trust him to lead the state, not just one community. He has to look at the whole state. So if you know New York State, it's a large state, but everybody thinks about New York City. New York City is a small part of the state of New York. There's so much more, and we call it upstate. There's an upstate where he is in Albany and Buffalo and places like that. And then there's New York City, which is down at the bottom, and it's a small part of New York. So when people think of New York, they think of New York City, and I'm saying, no, don't do that. Because we've got farmers, we've got manufacturing, schools. There's other things in the rest of the state. Versus New York is more travel and visitors and stuff like that.
So,
oh, yeah, you can't have. We're not giving them up. Sorry, Gabby.
Gabby,
and then Barb
in Florida.
And then Barb says, that's right. Your vote matters locally as much as it does as a state and federal level. Yes. I mean, this is a lesson I learned as a child because my mother was involved in labor unions and stuff like that. So I know a lot from being a kid and being involved with that.
And I remember taking my children to the polling place and sitting them on the booth while I filled out the little, because I wanted them to see democracy in action.
Yes, you have to do that. You have to instill it in the younger ones. You have to show them. So as a kid, as a teenager, my mom had me call, for get out to vote. We were calling and getting people rides to vote, and the elder. I got involved with that when I was a kid, so I've already been immersed in that blue collar union talk where things have to be, there's one side that's bigger than the other, and it's not fair and all that. So I've already been immersed in that. I know a lot of people haven't, and they're coming to it. So that's why I always say you have to vote locally. It's more important than the presidency. More important than what's going on in the federal level, because you can see now what's happening. Things have been the states have to handle their own problems. So
let me ask you this, Terry. Now, are you going to share a screen with us today?
Oh yes, we got started talking on it. So let me show this real quick. Yeah. I want to say Bonnie says my mom always took me to vote as a child. That's good. We've been talking so long the screen went blank. Let me bring it up. So when I was talking about digital empathy, I wanted to give credit to Brian Fanzo. So let me bring this up. If you don't know Brian Fanzo, he started out as the millennial speaker. He talks fast, he tweets fast. So I've been following him for a while because I wanted a millennial perspective on what's going on. So he wrote, he before all of this shutdown, he was going around speaking in different countries and stuff on the millennial perspective on marketing and social media and what's happening. So I was reading his article. So this was where I got the digital, I put on the card digital empathy. So this is a good article for you guys to read. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So he talks about digital empathy. Let me put it in. So I'll put it in there, the link, so you can go read it yourself. But basically, he's been talking about, I wanted to read this little part. In the world we're living in today, we have never been more divided, especially here in the United States, while at the same time, we've never been more connected, attached to our devices 24/7, having instant access to people around the world. Yet, for many of us, we've never felt more alone. And then he talks about social media being leveling the playing field, but you have to have empathy for the people that are on the side of the other side. So he said he had a popular keynote called Digital Empathy, with the focus of putting a spotlight on the idea that digital should empower us to have a deeper understanding of the world around us, because we have access to people's past, unfiltered access to the digital breadcrumbs influencing people's actions in the present, putting insights into the future. So I wanted to make sure that I gave him credit for that. And I put the link in so you guys can read it later, because I was going to go over it, but we started getting into the conversation, which we always do, and that's okay. Because see, that's what it's supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to incorporate what you guys are saying into the chat. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to reflect on what's being said. I've seen a lot of live streams where they just ignore the chat completely, and I'm like, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
you're not. Yeah. So I apologize for that. This is where digital empathy that this is Brian Fanzo. He's everywhere. I've been following him since Meerkat days. If you don't know what Meerkat is, that's okay. But because he's a millennial, I wanted to hear his voice and what he had to say specifically, because he's in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. When we started doing social media, as it started to take over and everything and be incorporated into our world. So read that when you have a chance. And basically that's it. We can wrap it up, because this is a conversation we can keep going on and on.
And what we really want to talk about and remember from this, the takeaway that I got, TJ, is to be empathetic.
Yes, that's that's your how to connect. Because it's confusing now, because there are so many things happening that you have to know about or to take into yourself, absorb. That's why I use the word absorb, because that's going to be the key to how you respond as a business owner to what's happening, because there's a lot of confusion and overwhelm, and some people are getting hit with negativity when they don't really deserve it, because
from both sides.
Right.
I'm looking at people who have loved ones who are a part of the police force, and they're Black, and they're female. And I mean, how many hits
there's so many levels to this. Bonnie says the beauty of a live stream is a live aspect and the audience engagement. Yes. And we, Bonnie's been on Blab for a while. We were there, and we've done different platforms. So this group, we've been doing live streaming for a while, but there's people coming to it now because of the pandemic that they're coming to it new. And it's like, there are so many more who aren't using it, business owners, because it's live and they're afraid of it. And we're saying, no, that's what Bonnie said about the audience engagement. It's the best way. And she knows, watch her stories. Bonnie has good stories. Brenda says, thank you, ladies. I have to go to a CU Union County meeting. Okay. Thank you, Brenna. And I love Brenna's perspective. I love everybody's perspective. Everybody has a voice, is what I'm saying. Allow the use of that. Right. Allow that use. As a business owner, allow your audience to use their voice. But you're going to absorb it and get it together and learn and craft your message to the audience that you want to reach. We're not saying be silent or don't say what you really feel, because if you don't know, you don't know. But I'm saying do the work, and then you know what to say. But you're going to use empathy. Empathy is a part of that. That's your platform. That's your base. Empathy. Always think from that perspective. Think from that perspective, and you'll know what to say to your audience. Tachi here. Hey, Dr. Tachi is here. Mediascope.
I've been seeing some interesting things in the media, but okay, we're gonna talk about
and that's why you need to watch Mediascope, because she does the show on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So that's Mediascope. But I thank you for, the conversation. We could go on, and we probably will, because this isn't changing. But I just wanted you to have this perspective of the platform, the base that you need to come from and use this empathy. So if you don't know about empathy, get familiar with it, because that's going to be that's going to save your business as far as your messaging online. And how do I say something, and how do I connect with my audience now? Because it's different from last year. It's totally different. Okay.
Exactly.
And if you need to find me, you know where I am. I am here. Terry Johnson Online. Just Google it, go wherever your favorite platform and find me. And then, of course, you're going to find me in the Biz Chicks group and the page.
Absolutely.
So if you need help, just let me know.
And if you're looking to become a Biz Chick, you can text Biz to 33777. Okay, we're looking forward to you joining us. We want to thank you for joining the conversation, and we'd love to have you become a part of the Biz Chicks group. Remember, we're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And what did Gabby say? I first found you all on Periscope. Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you. And Bonnie too. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm glad you're here. So follow everybody. You know, we have great people in this group, so follow each other.
We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Is Wednesday. We'll be talking to Coach Karen about your money and bringing profits in daily.
Yeah.
So with that, I want to remind everybody, don't forget to go to the front of your own line. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.